to stop planning tonight's menu, put the kids down for a nap if you can, put the iron down, whatever you need to do, pay attention for a couple minutes, because here to tell you how to take the skills that you use every day as the CEO and chief executive of your own home and translate them into the job you may want, please welcome author David Bowman. Hi, David. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, John said I was just about to hyperventilate at the top of the show because I was so excited about this topic.
You were, I saw you.
But I think it's so true because I look at my mom, for instance, and, you know, she worked so hard, and then when the kids were gone, she'd say, well, but what could I do? What could I do? You know, that's the big misconception, I think.
We hear it all the time. You know, gosh, I don't have any skills. I don't have any strengths. What am I going to do? There are no jobs for me out there.
Right.
It's not so because, as you just said, the CEO of the household. One of the things that a homemaker does, first of all, they're schedulers. They're organizers, aren't they? They organize the kids, they got to go shopping, they got to organize and schedule everything around the house, shopping, laundry, taking the kids to school, all that stuff. Also, they're budgeters. They are budgeters of the household budget. In many cases, they do the accounting, the bookkeeping, and all that stuff. Also, they are project managers. Has anybody at home done any kind of a redo of the kitchen, redo the bedrooms? They're decorators, aren't they? They're also project managers if you've had to go out and get let's say a contractor to come in and redo the kitchen.
Well, first of all, good luck. If you can get a contractor over to your house, I'd hire anybody who can make that
true.
happen.
So what are we talking about? Motivating, right? We're talking about people skills right off the bat. But it's true. Also, PTA. Have you been involved in some committees? Maybe teachers' aides. How about maybe some church activities, committees, fundraisers? Of course, everybody's a decorator at home. They're gardeners. And what have you? But so I don't have any gardening skills. Somebody may have won the prize for the best rose garden in town.
Okay, but let's say you know all this and you're feeling pretty good about your skills, and okay, maybe I've identified some things that I can do. Still, if you're unfamiliar with the workplace and you have been out of it for a while, or if you've never been a working professional, a paid professional, how do you put that down on a resume? Because that's sort of the working paper that you have to deal with, isn't it?
After you assess what it is you've been doing in the home, or perhaps outside the home as well, then you have to come to the conclusion of, am I a people person, am I a thing person, or am I a data person? Those are the three major categories. And what you have to do is focus in on one of those three. Now, what do people do? They persuade, they perhaps motivate, they communicate, okay? You're probably not all three. You're predominantly in one of these three. What do thing people do? Maybe they're designers. Maybe they've designed some things in the high school, designed their homes. Maybe they're gardeners. They work with things. What do data people do? Those are the people that do real well with the budgets. They're probably accountants. Maybe they do well with inventory stuff. You know, maybe they've been doing stuff. So one of those three categories, the thing you have to do, Leeza, is as a job applicant, you have to be able to tell the interviewer what it is you do. You can't be sitting there with sweaty palms and a dry mouth, being a warm body. You have to do something for this person.
What kinds of words would you put on the resume? Let's say that you were able to redo a kitchen and bring it in on budget, and you started to look at yourself in those terms. How would you phrase it? What are some tips?
Okay, I have three resumes here. Three people. The first one is a people person. Her name happens to be Peggy People. Okay. Now,
very creative.
Very creative, exactly. Did this just for you, Leeza. Let's talk about some words. Persuasive. So we start off with a phrase that describes, on a resume as well as in the interview, a persuasive, people-oriented team player who is able to communicate well, organize, and motivate others into action. Now that's how she describes herself. What are some of the accomplishments that translate from some of the things she did at home?
Right.
Sales. All right. This particular person, Peggy People, organized a team of 26 volunteers to sell $20,000 of baked goods for a fundraiser.
Which is much more important than saying, well, we did the bake sale after school.
Absolutely. It's sales. All right. Also a training and educator. This person happens to have organized an ongoing hiking and camping exhibition and trained the 8 participants in physical preparation for the outing.
I'm impressed with that.
Yeah. Here's Terry Things. Okay, now she does things. Okay, Terry does designing. A designer who has excellent sense of color, proportion, and style. Okay, who can plan and implement a design project from beginning and end. A design project happened to be the Christmas parade ball, brought it in on time and on budget. Administration, she redesigned the Central High School lobby, bringing it in on time and on.
Okay, and then we got the data people.
Lastly, we have Dottie Data.
Go Dottie.
Go Dottie. Now, this is a person who organizes data and moves it around. Accountants, inventory people, a detail-oriented organizer who understands and manages large quantities of information and who's able to concentrate well for long periods of time. She managed the box office receipts and all the payables for a community theater organization, okay? She also, in inventory control, also was a volunteer in a hospital. She kept inventory of 67 nurses and nurses' aides, uniforms, and equipment. And the total asset value was $300,000.
So things that you may not think will be significant to an employer really are.
That's right.
I want to talk to you when we come back about how to handle the interview and what kinds of jobs may be out there for homemakers that might be appropriate. We'll do it in just a minute. Stay with us.
Of the 100 million women 16 or older, about 58 million are working.
We're talking with career strategist David Bowman, who also wrote the book called How Do I Find the Right Job? And we're trying to help you discover how you can be more marketable, to find a job that might be appropriate for the skills you have as a homemaker. What kinds of areas should we be looking at?
Oh, Leeza, everything that's out there needs people. The problem is nobody knows how to describe themselves, as we were talking about before. Nobody knows how to focus themselves into it. Nobody's looking for a warm body. They're looking for people who can do things. So, in order to find the right job, after you've done the assessing, which we just talked about, then you have to do some research. And you have to find out what companies are in the local area. And a very easy way to do that is to look in the business yellow pages, just to find out the companies. Pick some companies that might be interesting to you. Call the company, ask them for some sales literature. Find out what they make, what they do, where they do it, how many people they have there, the nice color pictures of the products or services. Then begin to network. Talk to people you know, to find people who work at that organization. Find some more information about what their needs are. Are they growing? Are they moving? Are they whatever?
That networking thing, that's kind of a catchphrase of the 90s. But what you really mean is just access your resources.
Yeah.
Ask for favors. Don't be afraid to call them in.
Who knows somebody at the company that has the opportunity, or perhaps is in human resources. Human resources can be very, very helpful to people in the job market, but you have to focus the human resource people. They're not mind readers. You got to tell them what it is you do, or they're not going to know. They can't pull it out of you, which is why the resume is important. The resume, you know, is only a calling card. It's only a marketing tool.
Well, the real deal,
for the interview,
I would imagine, is when you're face-to-face with the potential employer.
That's it.
The man or the woman
of truth.
who makes the decision on whether you're worth the investment.
Yeah.
And that can be very intimidating
Sure
for
it can.
anyone, even if you're used to doing it.
Sure it can.
What are your tips for how to handle that situation?
Well, again, you've got to know what it is you do and why you can help them. Just being a warm body ain't going to do it, as they say. You have to have that information. And then start off with what we call the 2-minute sell statement. Now, what is a 2-minute sell? It's pretty much what we talked about in the resumes earlier. Those descriptives, those words that, are you persuasive? Are you a communicator? Are you a motivator if you're a people person? Or you're detailed? You concentrate well if you're maybe one of the data people or one of the thing people. You've got to be able to talk about that. And then, what are the accomplishments? Some of those things we talked about on those resumes. You've got to be able to substantiate what you just said, were your strengths, with an accomplishment, and talk about those things. And then what we call Q equals A plus P. Q.
Oh, I knew there was a formula coming. I was doing so well.
You knew, exactly. Now, here comes math, right? No. Q is the interviewer's question, equals A, your answer, plus P, probe. If I say to you, I'm interviewing you, Leeza, and I say, will you relocate? And you say, well, I might consider leaving Los Angeles. You wouldn't want to leave it there. Don't you want to know where? You'd say, yes, but where do you have in mind? It might be someplace in the northern tip of Alaska, and you might not want to go there. So turn around the question. Find out why they're asking it. Get more information from the interviewer. That also gets them talking, and it gets the conversation moving, and you're not just dry mouth, sweaty palms, looking like a warm body.
All those skills you learned with your kids, too.
Isn't it true?
It's so true.
Isn't it true?
I just find that many women feel somehow embarrassed by themselves and feel really insecure about it. And I'm glad to see that you're saying that is just inappropriate.
Preparation is the key.
Yeah.
Know who you're seeing, what they do, why they do it well, and what kinds of opportunities they have. And human resources can be very helpful in terms of the opportunities that are in those particular organizations. But the interviewee, the person coming in for the job, has to understand their skills, has to be aware of what it is they do and why they do them well, and explain that.
You know, most homemakers are very high on perseverance, and that counts too, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Thanks so much,
Keep
David.
going. Leeza,
Enjoyed
great to
talking
see
with
you.
you.
And thank you all.